is everyone doing? This is literally the first live of this year, and I am so excited that we're kicking off with such an important topic, something that I have been having conversations around, and we're going to go full on about this. We're going to talk specifically about the shame that comes around with self promotion. So, I would love for you to hang around. If you have any questions around entrepreneurship, mindset, success, starting your own business, money mindset, literally nothing is off table. You can ask them here so that we can have this conversation and keep adding to each other's life. And that's what this whole live is about, right? So, specifically, okay, so I forgot how, okay, so oh my god, fun story. I was trying to go live yesterday and here, but for some reason the network was kind of bad. So then I went live on TikTok for the first time ever, and I was graciously granted so many hate comments that I was like, Instagram feels like a safe zone, because that was the first time I went live on TikTok, and I'm not very much familiar with the audience on there. But yeah, nonetheless, it was fine. It was like good experience, which is part of what we are talking about today, which is around self-promotion, right? So that experience yesterday, I can easily bring it to this conversation and talk about. I was on there. That was the first time I went live, and a lot of those people, like how TikTok works is it shows your stuff to brand new people, right? So I was doing that. I was talking about my business. I was talking about my services. I was talking about what I do, how I can help them. And in a lot of ways, I was promoting myself as a brand, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, and all of those things, right? So when you understand this, what I am about to say, it's going to become very easy for you as a creator, as an entrepreneur, or someone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, to understand the fact that when you 100% know what you bring to the table, when you know you're so damn good at what you do, that whole thing about holding yourself back from promoting yourself is not going to happen as much, right? I remember maybe 3 years ago when I wasn't very much confident in who I am. I wasn't very much confident in my ability to create transformations. I wasn't very much confident in my offers. Of course, I had that resistance, right? I wasn't as invested in my growth. I wasn't investing in the level of mentors that I wanted to invest in, right? And that there was a lot of lack of confidence, even if it didn't appear to me that way. But underneath all of that, one of the biggest reason why we have that that sense of hesitance, or that feeling sleazy when you're selling, or feeling oh my god, I don't want to promote myself, is one of these reasons. You have I wouldn't say lack of confidence, but I will definitely say that to some degree there is some confidence work that is to be done in yourself, right? How you look at yourself as a brand, your confidence in your ability to provide transformations. Because firstly, you have to remember that we don't provide transformations, right? You are just the channel. You are co-creating with this other person that you're working with, and then that transformation happens, right? So I don't want you to put a lot of pressure on yourself in that regard, and in your offers and the products that you create, right? So it's one of these areas that there is that loophole. There is that something that you need to work on. As I said, when you are so sure in what you bring to the table, you will not be hesitating. When you look at someone who is a very successful entrepreneur, or when you look at someone who is a millionaire, right? Not only in terms of money, but even someone who is very wise and knows what they're talking about. When they know what they bring to the table, they will not hesitate in telling you about their offers. They will not hesitate in talking about their company, talking about themselves and how they have provided that transformation. And they do it in a very effortless manner, right? And there is no shame around in those things. So we will talk a little bit more about the deeper sense of shame and where that originates from, and what kind of ways you can adapt in order to prevent that sort of shame when it comes to self-promotion. But on a surface level, mindset wise, if you are feeling yes, I am already there, then as I said, lack of confidence in yourself, lack of confidence in your offer, your ability to get results are the key areas that you need to be focusing on. Or in some cases, with some of my clients, it was also tied very closely, the self-promotion aspect was also tied very closely to the shame around asking money, right? And in general, when you look at it, you will also see this pattern coming up for them when it comes to, in terms of receiving anything else, right? It's like, if they have a hard time receiving compliments, they have a hard time receiving like anything, any good gesture. They have a hard time, like even for the most mundane things, they have a hard time receiving these things, right? So when you work on yourself in that way, when you're not in that avoidance cycle where you're like not that super self-independent, I don't need anyone type, but those are the few things that I think you can work on when it comes to self-promotion, or if you're feeling that sort of sleaziness when it comes to like promoting yourself. And another thing that I think really ties to this is when a lot of the times when it comes to self-promotion, or when you hear people say shameless plug, right? Or like, what is the shame in that? Right? I have never in my life said that word. I'm so happy for that, because I've never felt like talking about my brand, talking about myself, talking about what I do, how I provide these transformation, there has to be any shame attached to it, right? And even if I am like watching someone and they say that, I'm just like it just doesn't make sense for me. Like, I believe like if you are running a heart-centric business, your business is an extension of what you do and how you do. So you should never have that thing of like, you know what, shameless plug, now I'm going to talk about my podcast, I'm going to talk about my book. Why? Like, if you know what you bring to the table, like, people knowing about your book is so much better for them, right? When you truly understand the value of your skill set, your ability to create that transformation, you will see that not telling people about your offers, not giving people the resources, the tools for their next steps in the journey is you doing damage, is you doing a disservice to them, right? So most often these self limitations, or these hesitance that comes with the shame that comes with self promotion, is also a projection of what you have seen people react to others, right? Like, now this is like a big one, right? So maybe you were watching something, right? And someone else around you who's not part of your industry, by the way, like people who are part of your industry and get your work, your dream clients, your mentors, the people in your industry will never judge you for it, because they're in it with you. And like this judgment, these projections will come from people who are not part of your industry. They don't understand what you do, right? So if I talk about my offers and my programs here, and I see like my dream clients, they will be cheering me on. My 5 favorite community members, they'll be cheering me on. But if it's someone from back in college, or if someone from like someone who is not part of this industry, they will not get this. It literally would not make any sense for them, and they'll be like, oh my god, like, she's talking about her business way too much, she's talking about like her offers, she's putting all of these things there. So I want to ask you, do you want to live like a full big life, or you want to stay true and like you want to be careful about not being judged, right? You want to live your life for everybody else and what they perceive of what you should live like, or you want to live your life on your terms, right? When you decide this for yourself and you're like, you know what, I want to live my life on my terms, you should not be bothered by people who are outside of your industry, outside, like people who don't get what you do, like especially when it comes to online creators and like online entrepreneurs, people don't get what we do, right? And for them it's just like, oh yeah, you make money on online, it's so you go live, you talk about your programs, oh yeah, that's there, but it's kind of cringe, right? Like, are you going to take out your phone now and start filming everything? Like, I have had those comments. I've had people like, literally, even when we were having like family gatherings and stuff, and I had someone like, oh my god, now Aisha's going to start recording herself and she's going to talk about this, and she's going to be like, and then they were literally like, to the point that they were mocking me. I understood that they watch everything so religiously, and that instantly made me feel like their opinion does not matter to me. Because even when they were insulting me and putting me down, I could understand that, like, the sentences and words that they were repeating, I was like, they must have like seen and read my stuff so many times that it is on their tongue now, right? Even for someone to mock you, it requires some, like, there is a lot of admiration underneath all of that, right? So if people who are outside of your industry are saying you things, are literally projecting on you about, my god, like sales is so sleazy, I hate when people sell, and like saying about all of these things, I don't want you to pay a lot of attention to it, because they're not part of your industry, right? People who are like, someone who is actually building an audience, someone who is literally doing things that others don't do, they're challenging themselves, they're putting themselves through like a lot of things, like the people around that will not judge them, right? Who will judge? People who haven't had the courage to go and create that for themselves. So why are we giving too much importance, why are we giving too much value to people who don't matter as much, right? So we, like, at the bottom of it, we have highlighted a few things. First was, the reason you feel shame around self promotion is your shame attached to you asking for money. The next is, either you have confidence, lack of confidence in yourself, in your ability to deliver results, or in your offers. The next is, you are paying way too much attention to the projections of people outside of your world, outside of your industry, or giving way too much attention to people who don't matter in your entire transformation, right? Another thing that as I said already, like, the change in narrative has to happen from you, like, completely. You end this live, even if you're watching this on replay, I want you to know that, get these words out of your dictionary. Tooting my own horn, self-promotion is shameless, or shamelessly self-promoting myself, or shameless plug, like things like these should not be in your vocabulary, right? Because you don't see people who have made it talk about these things. Like when you're talking to Elon Musk, he's talking about all the billion-dollar things that he's doing. He's talking about his projects. He's excited about his life. He's sharing all of those things. He talks about like how, like, you listen to his interviews and you will see the passion, right? And he's not worried about like self promotion. You like talk to when you are talking, like hearing someone like big celebrities, those people are like really worshipped, so you hear them and stuff, and they don't hesitate around talking about their brands and what they're doing and how they're doing and how valuable they are. It's only the people who are like, you know what, I'm gonna be a good girl, I'm gonna be modest, I'm gonna like stay in my bubble, and oh my god, I don't need money, like, you know, I want to do this out of the care of my heart. Why? Right? I get the being good part. The reason you started this business, the reason you have this much integrity to check yourself, is the reason enough that you're going to be good with money, right? More money is not evil. More money is literally more impact, right? The more money I make, I can have more impact. I can offer more things for free, right? I can do more workshops. I can go and empower people and reach people who I was not able to, like, that I'm not able to right now, right? So you have to change all of these old narratives that are set in your mind around like sales, and set in your mind around like selling and self-promoting and talking about yourself, talking about your brand. Another reason that I think I have been seeing it quite a lot in my immediate world as well is, we are waiting for people, like we are trying so hard to make others feel comfortable with our success. Like we, in a lot of ways, shrink ourselves to make everybody else feel comfortable, right? This is like a layer above like success blogs when that happens quite a lot, wherein you're like in rooms, in places wherein you automatically sense yourself like shrinking, or you're like, I want to make sure that, you know, my success, like my dreams and all of these things are comfortable for everybody else. Right? It's so crazy that it happens so subconsciously, because we all want to be accepted in all the rooms, right? That's one thing about being a human. We want to be liked, we want to be loved, we want people to celebrate us, and we want all of those things, which is all good, but at what cost? Are you okay with shrinking yourself? Are you okay with, holding yourself back? Right? If that is the cost for you to blend in, I would prefer you not blending in, right? It's part of your success. It is literally like offending. Oh God, I'm not putting this right, but offending people is literally, offending some people is literally part of your journey. Triggering some people is literally part of your journey. And when you think about it, I'm okay with it. Like, I have made peace with that. That, I'm literally not for everyone. Like, my success will bring up certain emotions in people, and I'm okay with that. Right? When I am like self promoting, or I am like talking about my offers, some people might just go like, oh my God, like, what is wrong with her? Why is she yapping about this? Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's so cringe that she talks about her offers. It's so cringe that she's doing this, or that, she's doing that. Right? But I'm not for those people. Please do not pay me. Please don't become my clients. Right? I'm not for you. I am for people who get it, who get everything that I'm saying right now. Right? And as I said, it's part of your mission to offend some people. It's part of your mission to trigger some people. And sometimes it is healthy for these things to happen. Earlier I used to be like, oh my God, like, I'm triggering people. Like, it's not good. I don't want people to feel this way. But literally, like, think about it. What if you triggering a few things in them is going to like help them start thinking differently? Maybe it'll help them or encourage them to go educate themselves in this, or maybe explore that thing in themselves and start doing what they want to do. Maybe you following your dreams to the fullest potential and like being so freaking loud about it is what is ultimately what is going to change things for people, despite of you triggering them. That's the place that I want you to come from. And that's how big and loud I want you to be when you are talking about your offers, when you are talking about yourself, right? So what shame? What shame in promoting what you do? What shame in educating people about yourself, your brand, and standing tall and proud for what you believe in, right? Every time you have that thing, I want you to keep coming back to the statement. It's part of my mission to trigger people and offend people. Right? I spoke about this in one of the TikToks that I recorded yesterday. I had like so many spam accounts being made of my Instagram in the last month. I was so tired reporting that I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything about it. People who are part of my community, they know that I will never do such a thing. And people who are wise enough will never fall for these scams. And I stopped it. Another incident was like my PayPal account got hacked. My like official email address got hacked, and like the amount of self-concept work it takes for you to not go crazy and be like, oh my God, why is this happening with me? I'm so afraid and being anxious about what does this make, what does, like, people were literally downloading my videos and creating all of these fake accounts. And I literally went on like some of those accounts and they had the time to download and repost every video that I did almost 2 years down the line, and like message my followers and like scam them. I was like, people have that much time to invest in that. I was like, whoa, I actually made it. Because I used to see these things happen with like big time creators, and I used to be like, oh my God, like, how do they handle these things? But now that it happened with me, I was like, okay, like, oh my God, I made it. That's how I knew that my identity shifting work is working, because I didn't panic. I was like, this is exactly what happens when you get too big, right? I was like, people actually took the time of their day to download my stuff and then go scam others. I was like, yeah, I've made it more than anything, right? Okay, so now this is like the next part of how we are navigating that shame, taking it a lot more deeper. And we're going to talk specifically about like the shadow work aspect of it. How do you deal with this? How do you, like, what are some of the things that has been beneficial for me and my clients, right? So let's go a little bit more deeper and start with something called, okay, fine, I'm going to say it, putting it out there. We have to stop shaming shame. Okay? We have to stop the idea of shaming shame itself, right? Any difficult emotions, we have to stop shaming it. We are humans, right? You being your higher self or you being an empowered version of yourself does not mean that you will not be triggered. You're a human being. It's about how you navigate those ups and downs. So for you to feel jealousy, for you to feel disappointment, for you to feel shame and guilt, and all these things are very normal. You have to, firstly, when it comes to shadow work, if you want to grow in your life, you have to start looking at yourself with a very objective lens, right? Of course, you need to show yourself compassion, but you also have to start being okay with looking at yourself and being like, oh my god, Aisha, this is jealousy. Oh my god. You want this for yourself, and now that you don't have it, when you look at this person, you feel these things. So that is an indication that you have to accept this desire as your own and start working towards it. Or someone else having what you want is very much the proof that you can have it too. That's how you reframe jealousy. That's how you stop comparing yourself. So it's not about not feeling jealousy, not feeling these difficult emotions, but it's about how you navigate those ups and downs, right? Another thing that I think we do a lot, right, is around shame, right? Maybe this shame is attached to how much money you have in your account right now, or the lack of the money that you're making despite putting so much effort. All of that comes under shame. And when you create that self promotion post, or when you are selling something online, you will instantly be like, like, how am I teaching someone this? Am I even qualified for this? I'm not making that kind of money right now. I'm not good enough for this, right? Like, who will pay me? Look at me. I am like going through this myself. That's negative self-talk, and you have drowned yourself even further into, I don't deserve to put myself out there. I don't deserve to be an entrepreneur. I don't deserve to be an online creator based on the results that your current reality is showing you. And in that way, you're shaming your shame. Every time that happens for me, I literally like sit down with myself and I'm like, this is shame, Aisha. I'm shaming myself. And shame is literally like a poison that eats you from within. It's not only an emotion, right? And then what we do is we sleep on it, and then we are like, okay, fine, I'm feeling better. And then you carry on with your day. And then the next time you have these feelings, there is that residue shame from the previous experience, and then it keeps on adding up. You get to the next level of the poison infection. You keep poisoning yourself little by little, to the point that every time you talk about your offer, every time you talk about yourself, your brand, anything that you're selling, you will feel it like it's physically not possible for you to do that because of that shame has piled on, right? My turtle is making too much noise. It's kind of cold, so I have him in this closed box with temperature lighting, like the sunlight setting and everything. So I think that's what's kind of bothering him, and he wants to be out, but I can't keep him out as much because it's cold and it's not healthy for him, but he's kind of getting irritated. Okay, so how you decode shame around it is you actually ask yourself, what standard am I upholding? Okay, let's take an example. Let's take the same example of self-promotion and like putting yourself out there, talking about your brand, selling, right? What standard am I holding, either consciously or subconsciously? What is the standard that you're holding for yourself? Is the standard I must be modest? If I'm good, like I will get clients on its own. Like me talking about my services is not me not being modest. Like it looks like I'm bragging, right? Or it looks like I'm cringe, right? Is that like the self-talk that is coming up for you, or is that a standard that you have been holding on for yourself? Or I have even had this. It was something like greed is bad, money is bad, or things like, if I want to help and if I want to change the world and everything, I should not charge money for it, right? Can you please, I can't get it. What exactly you want me to repeat? Because I've said way too much. I've been talking for a good 20 minutes, I think. Okay, so what standard are you holding in your mind, right? In order for you to navigate that shame, you have to understand what standard you have in your mind, right? Even for like general things, The shame that you experience for general things. Maybe you are getting very new, like you're recording yourself and you're posting content, or you're starting your own business and all those things, but then you have this shame, right? What is that shame? What is the standard that you're holding up for yourself? Maybe, like I shouldn't do this. If I do this, then people will judge me, or people will laugh at me. Like I should be prime, proper, and perfect. That's the standard. And every time you falter from that standard, or you feel like you're not up to where you want to be, or not up to how you have seen people in your industry be, you will fall into that shame aspect. Again, it will come to that, like, oh my god, like this is not right. I should not be doing this. And then that gets translated into you feeling that shame, you feeling that that sleaziness when you're selling, or when you're talking about yourself or your products, right? So now that you understand that you have to stop shaming shame that comes around with self-promoting, right? Sit with those uncomfortable feelings. Understand what standards are you upholding, right? The next is you have to ask yourself, where did I pick up this belief? Like, where exactly in my life I learned that money is bad, or I learned that asking for money is bad, or I learned that putting myself, like sharing imperfections about my life is bad, right? Where in your life did you exactly learn this, right? The next is asking yourself, like, finding approval and community. This is very important. Like earlier when I was like finding approval, okay, fine, you can find approval, right? You do enough mindset work, you like deal with what you're talking about, and you navigate all of these things, and then you find approval in what you're doing, right? Basically, when I say finding approval in what you're doing, I mean finding evidences of working on your self-confidence, working on your confidence in your ability to get results, working on understanding and reaffirming to yourself what you bring to the table, and all of those things. But you finding approval, as in, like, I'm trying to find like a good way to say this, finding approval from those standards that you have set for yourself, right? So the standard that you had was, asking for money is bad, or like I must be modest, right? If I put myself too much out there, then people will judge me, right? Like all of these standards that you have set for yourself, but what you're doing right now is going against that standard, so you need new standards. Create new standards. Now that I'm an entrepreneur, me not giving my best, right, or me not sharing what I do is doing a disservice. Okay, I think I need to take someone off of my live. Go live. No. Okay. Awesome. I had to throw someone outside the live. Okay. So me, now that I'm an entrepreneur, you have to set this new standard and find approval in it. Now that I'm an entrepreneur, me not sharing my gifts, my talents, my skills, talking about my brand, my offers with the world is doing a disservice. That's a new standard that I want you to install for yourself. So you are identifying what standards you are holding on to subconsciously. You are not shaming shame. You are asking yourself, where did I first pick this up from? Maybe you saw your dad doing something and you were like, oh my god, like asking for money is like an uncomfortable feeling. We shouldn't ask for money, right? Or receiving something is going to, like, you receiving something is going to trigger other people around you. So then that becomes like a whole another thing, right? So once you find approval for that, understanding and setting the new standard, which is, it's a disservice for me not to sell. It's a disservice if I do not talk about my offer. Just think about it. Like, I remember I had like the beginning of 2022, I was sharing very like vulnerable aspects of my life, and like very openly I was talking about the things and like all of these things. Although in the moment it felt like, it felt like I'm like promoting myself way too much, but I was like genuinely sharing information, genuinely sharing things that could benefit people and have had benefited people. I had clients then who came to me and they were like, I'm so glad that you spoke about those things and then you spoke about your offers, because I knew that me just getting that information is not enough. I knew that I needed to work on myself, and you selling your services was like that next thing for me. It gave me that direct path to what I should be doing. So imagine if I just shared all those things, I shared my content, but I did not tell people what's the next step. You selling, you self-promoting, you talking about your brand, you talking about how your clients got that result or how your clients did that or did this, is you giving them the literal key to transformation. Is you giving them the next step to what's going to happen. It's you giving them the final piece of the puzzle, right? So you have to constantly keep rewiring this. It's not something that you do it once and like you're done, you're good forever. You have to constantly keep doing this. It can't be something that you do once now in this life and then you forget about it. I want you to literally write this down in like a journal or somewhere, that me not selling is a disservice. Now that I'm an entrepreneur, it is like my assigned duty to sell, because the day you became an entrepreneur is the day you became a salesperson. If you are ashamed to talk about your business, what makes you think that, further down the line, when you get so damn big, people will not want to do it for you? Because you have that shame. Because you won't even realize this, that it comes off in the content that you write. It comes off in the videos that you make. It is so obvious, especially for someone like I have been doing shadow work like for so long now, that I'm able to see traces and patterns in people. When I read people's content, I know like what beliefs they are holding on to. I can see their projections. I can see which shadow aspect of themselves is showing up in this post, or what is that thing that is coming up for them right now, right? So I'm not saying that you sit there and you talk about all these things, but you create that change, right? You don't just leave these things here. That's again, I'm repeating myself. The day you became an entrepreneur is the day you became a salesperson. You became a spokesperson for yourself. Because as I said, the more you focus on, like, the moment you're like, oh my god, like, what if this person says this? What if I get judged? What if I get haters? What if I get cancelled? Ask yourself, where is the focus? The focus is on you. That's not what we want. We want to focus on the mission. If you're too hyper focused, if I am too hyper focused on how I'm being perceived, how I look, how I'm being judged, what if people think I'm cringe, I am only focusing on myself, right? Assalamu alaikum, Aisha, how are you? So if we are, alhamdulillah, I'm good, how are you? So if we are constantly focusing on the judgment that you'll be getting, only focusing on, of course, you are also replicating that in your reality, and more than that, you are not focusing 100% on yourself, right? You are too hyper focused on your ego self versus the mission that you're here for, right? There's this analogy that I always love to give. You will not feel that shame, and you will not feel that hesitance when you are so focused on delivering people something that they need, right? Or whether it's on you. Like, for example, when imagine if someone dropped a wallet, right? And you go to like, your first immediate reaction is you go and pick up that wallet and give it to this person without you thinking about, what is this person going to think about me? What if this person judges me? What if this person thinks I'm cringe? You don't do that. But if I told you, you know what, just go and introduce yourself to this person, instantly you'll be nervous. You'll be like, oh my god, what if this person thinks I'm weird? What if this person thinks I'm cringe? I should not, like, how can I go and approach someone like that? You know instantly that the focus is on your ego self. It's not on your mission. It's not on the big thing that you're here to create. When you put your focus on the service, when you put your focus on the delivery, on what you're doing and the impact that it's going to have, you will stop worrying about how you look on camera, how cringe you sound, like, oh my god, I don't have enough followers, what if I talk about this and people judge me? Or if I sell every day, people will think I'm sleazy, people will, like, be like, oh my god, she's selling every day. Again, that means your ego self is taking the shots. You're not doing that, right? So last thing that I wanted to, I think I covered most of it. Oh my god, I love that. it rarely happens, but I'm so glad I covered all of that. So the first part of what we were doing was specifically around understanding that shame. The last 15 minutes, I think, were around navigating and reframing that shame, so that we are able to run businesses from a place of like, from a very grounded place, and creating that big impact, like really affirming to ourselves what we bring to the table, and you understanding in like basically reinforcing that what you do for this mission, and how you're putting in the efforts and all of those things. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I have a few fun offers that are coming out that are specifically around shadow work and like being a vibrational match. And something that I have been working on was so cool. Yesterday I was talking to one of my clients. The program is specifically around receiving. I'm still in like the processing the program phase, but oh my god, like it's such a juicy vibrational program. It's like a high vibe program. I don't know the delivery of how I'm going to do this. I don't know how specifically I'm going to like structure it, but yeah, it's that's something that's coming out. Another thing is we are bringing back the intensives. We are also bringing back the consultation calls that we are doing. I also have some spots for my one-to-one. I think we're gonna not have the one-to-one calls during the Ramadan, but other than that, all the other programs that I spoke about, the consultation calls, the hypermind calls are still available, the intensive calls are still available, and the program that I was talking about, completely about receiving. And if you have been part of Powerhouse Sales Queen, then you get like literally the this new upcoming program at a very juicy price, because this is literally like the next piece of the puzzle. Like you get into Powerhouse Sales Queens, you understand the sales energetic blocks you have and how you incorporate all of those things, and then you add on this new high vibrational program wherein you are literally stepping into this energy. And I know for a fact that this program is going to help you completely master alignment, master embodiment, because of the techniques that because of how simplified it is. Because when you hear people talk about high vibrational, or when you hear people talking about be a vibrational match, you're just sitting there like, oh my god, like, but how do you do it? Like, how do you become high vibe? But how do you become magnetic? How do you do that? How do you attract it? Like in all of those terminologies. But this program is going to actually help you understand like physical, practical ways of how you can be a vibrational match to what you're asking for, how to be in that receiving energy, how do you literally embody, master alignment, and be in the embodiment of what you're asking for. So this program is like so freaking juicy, and I'm going to continue talking about it for the next few days, inshallah, and then we're going to officially launch it. And about the consultation calls, the consultation program itself, the way it's structured, it is to help you bring in like evergreen income, like through evergreen marketing. It's a passive style program. It's one passive style program, so we have one call a month, right? And eventually it will also turn into a membership, right? So once you have joined the consultation calls, you will have one call a month for 3 months, and then you have walks around every Wednesday. And then from there, I do have like membership option for the people who have worked with me, so you can upgrade to that as well. And if you need any information of this sort, or if you want to know where you are and which will be the best program for you, then definitely DM me and we can have a conversation. Have an awesome day. Bye.